Everyone thought Anna would fall apart when Jaime confessed his love to the new transfer student. They imagined she'd break down in tears, maybe even rush in to stop him at the last second. But she never showed. Not until after the confession had ended and everyone had gone quiet, Anna was nowhere near the courtyard. Instead, she was in Rafael's dorm room, sitting calmly on his bed, wearing his hoodie like it belonged to her. With wide, innocent eyes, she looked at him and said, "I spilled water on your bed. How are you going to sleep tonight?" Rafael's Adam's apple bobbed. He averted his gaze, tossed her a towel, and said curtly, "Go dry your hair. I'll change the sheets. You can sleep after." Earlier that day, Jaime had told all their friends about his plan to confess his feelings to the beautiful new girl. He even made sure everyone kept it from Anna. But someone couldn't hold it and they told her. It was no secret Anna, like Jaime. Everyone knew. She had admired him for years and openly dreamt of marrying him one day. That's why people expected drama tears, screaming, some emotional breakdown. Who wouldn't want to witness a love triangle unfold in real time? But to their disappointment, Anna never came. Even after Jaime successfully poured out his feelings and hugged his new girlfriend, Anna was still absent. The crowd was let down. Strangely, Jaime didn't seem as thrilled as expected either. He smiled faintly, hugged the girl at his side, then checked his phone. No missed calls. No unread messages. He frowned, then forced a smile, and turned to the group. "Drinks on me tonight. Everyone's invited." Cheers erupted around him. That was when she finally emerged from behind a bush, like a ghost slipping into a stage play. "It's Anna," someone shouted. "I knew she'd come." Jaime looked up. When his eyes found her, a flicker of something crossed his face, maybe surprise, maybe hope. But Anna didn't care about the people watching. She walked straight up to him. Jaime's arm tightened around his new girlfriend. He looked at Anna and said coldly, "You can't force feelings. We've been friends for over 10 years, and I don't want to ruin that. I'll always think of you as a little sister. If you ever need anything, you can still count on me." He lowered his voice, glancing around. "There are too many people here. Don't make a scene. Just go home." But Anna stepped closer, cutting him off. "Jaime." Her tone was calm. He frowned again. "Anna, don't make this harder than it has to be." She smiled slightly and held out a bracelet, the one he had given her. "I just came to return this." His expression darkened the moment he saw it. "What are you doing now? Some kind of trick?" "Take it," she said softly. "I won't chase you anymore." His voice turned icy. "I don't care about money. If you don't want it, throw it away." So she did. Without a word, she turned, tossed the bracelet into the trash can beside them, and walked away without looking back. "Throw out everything else you gave me while you're at it," she added over her shoulder. Jaime stood there frozen as her silhouette disappeared into the crowd. His face remained tight with confusion and frustration. One of his friends patted him on the back. "She's bluffing, man. She'll come crawling back. Probably already digging through the trash, crying." Jaime laughed dryly. "Let her do whatever she wants. If it weren't for our families, I wouldn't even be talking to her." Another chimed in. "Forget her. Tonight's about celebration." Jaime nodded, looking back at his radiant new girlfriend. He brushed off Anna's lingering image. By tomorrow, she'd act like nothing happened, waiting for him outside his dorm, clinging to him between classes. It was always the same old story. But Anna had no intention of repeating that script. As she stood by the river later that night, rain poured heavily from the sky. Her umbrella barely kept her dry. She thought of the vivid dreams she'd been having, the kind that felt more like memories than illusions. In one, she had cried and made a scene during Jaime's confession. She'd screamed, begged him to choose her, then jumped into the river in despair. That night, she nearly died. Jaime only stayed 5 minutes in the hospital before leaving her forever. The Jiang family, who had adopted her, felt humiliated by her suicide attempt. They abandoned her, sending her back to her birth parents, junkies, gamblers, abusers. From there, everything fell apart. She dropped out of school, fell into darkness, and died alone in a foreign land. After her death, it wasn't Jaime who mourned. It was the one she had always avoided, Rafael. He gathered her remains. He was the one who cried over her broken body. In her dream, She saw him carry her ashes in a small bottle for the rest of his life. He lived in solitude, haunted by her memory. And now, reality was aligning with those dreams. If it weren't for them, Anna might have been clinging to Jaime right now, begging for his love, threatening to jump again. But instead, she called Rafael. The third time she dialed his number, he picked up. She clutched the phone tightly. "Rafael," she whispered. Rain roared around her, drowning the world. But his voice cut through the storm deep, a little lazy, a little cold. "Anna? It's raining hard. I'm stuck by the river. I can't get back. Can you come?" Silence. She gripped her umbrella, her palms damp not from the rain, but from sweat. In her dream, Rafael had cried when he found her dead. His tears had burned her skin. Now, the memory of that sorrow overwhelmed her. Tears welled in her eyes. She choked back a sob. "Why are you crying?" Rafael's voice came again, flat but laced with a hint of irritation. "I didn't say I wouldn't come. When will you be here?" "Wait. I'll be there in 20 minutes. "Okay. I'll wait." He hung up without another word. 15 minutes later, Anna handed her umbrella to a mother and child seeking shelter from the rain. By the time Rafael arrived, Anna was already soaked to the bone. He stepped out of the car, his lips pressed into a firm line, his face as cold and unreadable as ever. Anna pushed her wet bangs from her forehead and lifted her chin to greet him with a bright smile. "You got here just in time, Rafael." His expression didn't change as he reached out, grabbed her arm, and pulled her into the car. "You're such an idiot. You could have died." He tossed a blanket at her, then climbed into the driver's seat. "Dry off. Don't make a mess in my car." She wrapped herself in the blanket without protest, stealing glances at him as he drove. When his face was still, he seemed so distant, so untouchable. Girls at school admired him, but never dared to confess anything. He was Jaime's roommate, and Anna used to see him often when visiting their room. Rafael had always treated her with disdain just like now. Even though he'd come to pick her up, his tone remained cold. The way he'd grabbed her earlier had left a red mark on her wrist, still sore to the touch. There was no way anyone could tell she had secretly liked him all along. Her eyes drifted downward. Everything in her dream was unfolding exactly as she'd seen it, but because of the small changes she'd made, some things were shifting. So could Rafael still like her? Or had he never liked her at all? Was helping her now just a burden? "Are we going back to the dorm?" she asked softly. Rafael's gaze flickered toward her for a brief second. Her heart skipped. Without thinking, she replied quickly, "Let's go to your dorm." He gripped the steering wheel tighter, a small, humorless laugh escaping his lips. "Jaime's not coming back tonight." "I know," she said, her fingers tightening around the edge of the blanket. "I'm not looking for him." Suddenly, he slammed on the brakes, the car jerking to a halt by the side of the road. He turned to her, eyes sharp and icy. "Anna, don't you dare drag me into your games." "I'm not," she began, but he stared her down, then picked up his phone. "I'll call you a cab. Go home." "Rafael," she whispered, grabbing the phone from his hand. He looked at her not with anger or annoyance but with something deeper, something unreadable. Her throat tightened. A strange sadness welled up inside her. "I don't want to go back to the dorm. Everyone's laughing at me. I can't go home either. Please can I stay in your room for just one night?" She clutched his phone behind her back, her voice growing smaller with every word. "But if you really hate me, if you really don't want me there, then forget it." As soon as the words left her lips, tears began to fall soft, quiet, unstoppable. Rafael didn't say a word. He simply restarted the car. Minutes later, they arrived at the dorm. Anna followed him inside. He opened his wardrobe and handed her a clean sweatshirt. "The bathroom's over there." The sweatshirt was oversized, hanging down to her knees like a dress. After showering, she returned wearing nothing but that and damp hair dripping onto the floor. Rafael glanced at her and quickly looked away. She walked past Jaime's bed and sat on his. Water from her hair soaked into the sheets. The scent of his shampoo and soap still lingered in the air, mixing in the small space between them, quietly shifting the mood. Rafael cleared his throat and pulled out a pack of cigarettes. "I'm going to smoke," he muttered, stepping onto the balcony. Anna looked around his room. His sheets were neat and gray. His desk was organized, a laptop and books stacked with precision. She was about to peek at his things when her phone buzzed. Jamie's name flashed on the screen. She didn't answer. The phone rang again. And again. Finally, she silenced it and slipped it into her bag. "Rafael," she called out. He turned, stubbed out his cigarette, and stepped back inside. "What?" She looked up from the bed. Their eyes met and held for a moment before he looked away, but not before she noticed the faint redness in his ears. "I soaked your sheets. How are you going to sleep tonight?" Rafael's gaze dropped to the wet patch on the bed, then flicked back to her. His Adam's apple bobbed as he turned away and fetched a towel. "Dry your hair first. I'll change the sheets, then you can sleep." Anna smiled softly, remembering how red his ears had gotten. When she returned with dry hair, Rafael had already made the bed with fresh linens. "You can sleep now," he said. "And you?" she asked. Without looking at her, he pulled out a chair. "I'm going to play." "Oh." She sat on his bed, a little disappointed. Rafael picked up his headphones, about to put them on, when his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, then looked at her before answering. "Jamie? What's up?" Anna's chest tightened. She held her breath. "Yeah, I'm in the dorm." Someone saw Anna come into the building. Rafael turned to look at her again. She panicked. Before he could finish, she jumped into his lap, wrapping her arms around his neck. He tried to push her away, but she leaned in and whispered in his ear, "Rafael, tell him I'm not here." Her fingers brushed the skin of his neck, burning hot. She could feel his pulse pounding beneath her touch. She looked up at him. He looked down at her. His eyes had darkened, filling with something heavier, something deeper. "I've been in the dorm the whole time. She didn't come here." "Maybe ask someone else," he said into the phone, then hung up. He tossed it aside and wrapped his long fingers around her waist, pulling her closer. His warmth surrounded her. Her instincts screamed at her to run, but Rafael didn't let go. "Anna," he whispered, his voice hoarse. His breath brushed her skin, her ear, her neck. She trembled, trying to move away. But instead of retreating, his lips found hers. "Don't tempt me," Rafael muttered, voice low and rough. "I don't want to touch you in a place like this." "Rafael." Anna shifted slightly, her body pressed against his, heat building between them like a storm about to explode. His breath was uneven, his body rigid. She used the brief moment to speak, voice trembling. "If you don't want to touch me, then why did you kiss me?" Rafael leaned in, resting his forehead against hers. Their breaths tangled in the charged air. His eyes remained shut, as if trying to calm the fire inside. "And besides," she added with a nervous smile, "do you even know how to kiss? My lips are all swollen." "Anna," he said again, voice tighter. He didn't open his eyes, but the grip on her waist loosened ever so slightly. His fingers, long, calloused, strong even through the sweatshirt, made her tremble from both pain and something more torturous, anticipation. "Rafael." She winced and tried to pull his hand away, but instead he grabbed her fingers. "Don't move," he said, almost pleading. "I'll be gentler this time." Then his hand slid to the small of her back, pulling her flush against him. His next kiss was soft, slow, and searching. But the control didn't last. Soon it deepened, hungry and full of emotion. "Rafael," she whispered, trying to catch her breath. She nipped his lip in protest. "Anna." His voice broke. His body trembled. Heat radiated from his palms. He buried his face in the crook of her neck with a low groan. The volcano inside him erupted, then stilled but barely. Just as another wave threatened to rise, he gently pushed her off his lap and helped her to her feet. His expression was strange. The air between them carried a scent she couldn't quite place. "Rafael?" she asked, uncertain. "What just happened?" His ears were flushed red. The man who usually looked so cold and untouchable now stared at her with raw, burning desire. "I'm going to take a shower." He avoided her gaze as he reached down to straighten the hem of the oversized sweatshirt she wore. "You should sleep." Before Anna could reply, he turned and walked swiftly into the bathroom. When she heard the water running, she collapsed onto his bed, rolling over the sheets with a dazed expression. Her cheeks burned, and she pressed the back of her hand to cool them down. 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind. Rafael was tall, lean, and strong. His features were sharp, masculine hands, jaw, eyes, everything about him intense. But could it be possible he had never been with a girl before? Was that why his control slipped so quickly? The idea bubbled inside her, unexpectedly sweet. She sank her head into his pillow, inhaling his scent. Then, beneath the pillow, her fingers brushed something small. She pulled it out. It was a single pearl earring. Her pearl earring. One of her favorites. She had lost it ages ago in Jaime's dorm. She had searched everywhere and given up. But now, here it was in Rafael's bed. And suddenly it clicked. In every dream she'd had, every glimpse of that alternate, broken life, this earring had always been with Rafael. Anna froze for a moment, staring at it, then quietly slipped it back under the pillow. The sound of a blow-dryer hummed from the bathroom. A few minutes later, Rafael emerged wearing navy blue pajamas. The steam from the shower still clung to his skin, making him look softer, almost luminous. His damp hair framed his face, and for once, his stern aura seemed gentler. Submissive, even. Anna opened her mouth to call him when voices echoed from the hallway. Her heart stopped. She recognized one of them instantly. Jaime. Rafael's expression darkened. He reacted quickly. Before Jaime reached the door, Anna's clothes had been stashed in the wardrobe, her shoes hidden beneath the bed. Rafael lifted the blanket and slipped in. The only light left on was a soft night lamp, casting a dim glow across the room. Anna curled beneath his blanket, her body pressed tightly against his. From the outside, the lump barely registered. Even if Jaime walked in, he wouldn't notice unless he looked too closely. Why's the light off already? Jaime's voice was casual. Got caught in the rain, Rafael replied. Heads pounding. Beneath the covers, Rafael reached for Anna's wrist, gently holding it to stop her from fidgeting. The bed was only 1.3 meters wide. With his tall frame and long legs, Rafael took up most of it. Anna was practically draped over him, her breath brushing along his side. She could feel the muscles in his abdomen tense under her cheek. Jaime didn't press the light switch. He flopped into a chair and pulled out his phone. After a few failed calls, his voice turned bitter. Do you think Anna's doing this on purpose? Rafael didn't answer. I confessed to Laura today, and now Anna's gone missing. The news just reported a student jumping into the river over a breakup. I freaked out. Left Laura. Ran to the river. But it wasn't her. I've been calling all night. She won't answer. No one's seen her. What the hell is she doing ruining my night like this? He tossed his phone on the desk and sneered. I bet she's doing all this to get back at me. She always does. She's probably planning to cling to me forever. Not necessarily, Rafael said suddenly. Jaime blinked. What do you mean? Rafael, you've seen how she's been chasing after me these past 2 years. You've been annoyed too. You've never treated her kindly either. Hearing that, Anna bit Rafael's waist lightly through the blanket. He flinched, stifling a grunt. His hand moved instinctively to block her but brushed her lips instead. She bit his fingers. His entire body tensed, and a strangled sh escaped his throat. What's wrong with you? Jaime asked. Nothing. Just leg cramp. Rafael's voice was hoarse. He coughed a few times. All right, I'll leave you alone. Jaime stood. Let me hit the bathroom before I go. The moment he said it, Anna's heart dropped. She had washed her socks earlier during her shower and left them hanging in the bathroom. A few minutes later, Jaime emerged with a smirk. Rafael, did you bring a girl into the dorm tonight? You've been hiding her pretty well. What kind of girl managed to break down Rafael's icy walls? Jaime teased, stepping closer to the bed. Sleeping early, huh? Hiding someone under those sheets. Jaime. Rafael's voice turned sharp, laced with warning. All right, I won't get closer. Jaime chuckled but kept his gaze on the bed, clearly intrigued. Need protection? I've got extras if you want some. Under the blanket, Rafael gently pressed Anna's head against his chest, holding her still. Only then did he look at Jaime, his eyes glinting coldly. Don't joke about girls like that. Whoa, serious much? Jaime raised an eyebrow. Rafael's jaw tightened, his Adam's apple bobbing slightly. If the room hadn't been so dim, Jaime might have noticed how hard Rafael was working to keep his composure. After all, he was holding Anna close, but her hand wasn't still. Covered by the blanket, unseen to Jaime, she had started running her fingers slowly down Rafael's abdomen. Each touch made his muscles tense further. When her hand grazed the V-line just above his waistband, Rafael jolted in surprise so suddenly, it startled her too. "All right, I'll leave you two alone," Jaime said with a wink. "I'll crash elsewhere tonight." He threw one last playful look at Rafael's bed but couldn't hide the flicker of contempt in his expression. He had always thought of Rafael as aloof, disinterested in women, too cold to care. But now, it seemed Rafael wasn't as disciplined or detached as everyone believed. Jaime didn't say anything more, though. He and Rafael were close enough, and even if Rafael's popularity with girls had sometimes irritated him, there was no real bad blood. With that, Jaime left the room and shut the door behind him. The second it clicked closed, Anna flung off the blanket, gasping. "I was suffocating in there." Rafael leaned against the headboard, his eyes locked on her. The soft light threw shadows across his sharp features, making him look almost unreal. Anna stared at him, captivated. People always said soft lighting made faces more attractive, and it was true, even for men. "Anna." Rafael's voice was low as he stood, gently brushing a messy strand of hair from her face. He cupped her cheeks, speaking quietly but seriously. "I'm not angry at you. I haven't been treating you badly. Don't listen to what Jaime said." Then he dropped his hands, lifted the blanket, and stepped out of bed. "Get some sleep." "What about you?" she asked softly. He grabbed a pack of cigarettes and pointed to the balcony. "I'm going out for a smoke." "Go to sleep." Just then, Anna sneezed. Rafael froze. She tugged on his pajama sleeve, her expression pitiful. "I think I caught a cold. My head hurts." He looked at her for a long moment. "Let go. I'll go get you medicine." He returned with it, but after taking it, she still clung to his sleeve. "Rafael, I'm cold. The blanket's too thin." But this time, he gently pulled her hand away. "Anna, Jaime's gone. You don't have to keep pretending." "Pretending?" Her voice cracked. "What does he have to do with this?" Rafael gave a bitter laugh. "What are you doing by the river tonight?" That snapped her awake. Jaime had mentioned earlier that someone had jumped into the river. Rafael thought Anna had gone there to do the Sumito and it all. He thought her call, her coming to the dorm, was a ploy for revenge against Jaime. Anna understood why he might think that. The past 2 years had been unbearable. After the Jiang family found their real daughter, they planned to send Anna back to her birth parents. They only kept her around as a pawn for political marriage. Jaime had always felt like her only lifeline. He was her childhood friend, her last hope. She thought, foolishly, that he might care enough to pull her out of that hell. But to everyone else, including Rafael, she just looked like a girl hopelessly obsessed. Especially to Rafael, Jaime's roommate. How many moments had he witnessed of her desperate clinging? "Rafael," she tried to explain, but he was already standing. "Set an alarm. Leave early tomorrow. Don't let anyone see you. Things like this aren't good for a girl's reputation." "Rafael." Her voice was small, but he didn't stop or turn back. Her chest tightened. "What about all the times you kissed me tonight? And everything else? You're not going to take responsibility." He stopped. Slowly, he turned to face her. She was sitting on his bed, her eyes red, holding back tears. "I know you hate me," she said quietly. "Every time I came here before, you ignored me. But tonight, thank you. For coming. For letting me stay. If you really want nothing to do with me, then I'll leave now." She stood, barefoot, searching for her shoes but finding none. It didn't matter. She walked toward the door, head down, tears streaming silently. As she passed him, he grabbed her wrist. "Anna, I told you I don't hate you. Then take responsibility." She yanked her hand free and stared at him stubbornly. "You kissed me. You held me. Everything. And now you want to act like nothing happened." Without a word, Rafael grabbed her chin and crushed his lips against hers. "Anna," he whispered into her mouth, breath heavy and trembling. "If you're going to mess with me, then do it all the way." She threw her arms around his waist, standing on her toes to meet his kiss. "Okay," she breathed. During the short National Day break, Anna traveled to the city where her birth parents lived. She stayed for 3 days. By the time she left, those despicable people who drank, gambled, and trafficked others had all been arrested. The law would finally punish them without mercy. Human trafficking, illegal gambling, forced prostitution. Thanks to the vivid dreams she'd had, Anna had proof of every crime. She didn't need another life, another reincarnation to escape. In this life, she could break free and ensure those monsters were brought to justice. As she boarded the plane home, she let out a long breath. The heaviest burden in her heart had finally lifted. For the first time in a long while, Anna felt an overwhelming sense of freedom. True, soul-deep relief. When her plane landed in Beijing, the very first thing she did was send Rafael a message to let him know she had arrived safely. He had no idea about the real purpose of her trip. As far as he knew, she'd gone on a short getaway with her friends. "I'll see you tonight. Did you finish setting up your place?" Rafael had recently moved into an off-campus apartment. He was in his final year and rarely returned to the dorms anymore, especially since sharing a space with Jaime had become more awkward than convenient. "All done. Want me to come get you?" "Sure," she texted. "Anna," he replied again. "What is it?" "Today's Jaime's birthday. He's throwing a party tonight, and he asked me to bring my girlfriend." Anna had completely forgotten that Jaime's birthday landed on National Day. "Would you come with me?" Rafael asked. She didn't answer immediately. Her heart felt caught in a strange tangle. It wasn't that she didn't want to go public with Rafael, but she knew the Jiang family would likely cut her off soon, and once that happened, her past would spill into the open. Rafael wouldn't care, she knew, but others would. Just like in the dreams. They'd accuse him of betraying his family for a girl like her. Call him dishonorable, unfilial, reckless. But Rafael had once said, "You were the one who came after me first. If you start it, be ready to finish it." You can't have love without paying the price. Anna took a deep breath. "Rafael, do you want me to go?" "Yes," he said, without hesitation. "Then come pick me up," she smiled into her phone, her reflection glowing in the airport glass. Her smile startled even her. It was so bright. "Anna, look outside." His voice came through the phone, and for a heartbeat, her world stopped. She turned, and it felt like a scene straight out of a movie. The crowd blurred. The intercom announcements faded. And in the middle of it all, Rafael. Only Rafael. She dropped her suitcase and ran to him without thinking. He didn't move, just opened his arms and caught her as she jumped into his chest. He didn't even stumble. Her arms wrapped around his neck, her face lit with joy. "Wow," she teased, "your core strength is seriously impressive." He looked down at her with a quiet laugh. "My hips are strong too. Want to test them?" She pressed her hand to his abs and leaned in, whispering playfully, "But you're kind of fast, you know?" "Anna," he groaned, half exasperated. But he was still young, still proud. His eyes gleamed with resolve. "You'll see. And don't go begging for mercy. Crying won't help you." As usual, Jaime had invited a crowd for his birthday party. Laura had gone all out with her appearance, glamorous and stunning. The two of them, sitting side by side, looked like the perfect couple. Girls around them complimented Laura endlessly. She basked in it all, but Jaime looked distracted. "Jaime?" Laura called softly, more than once before he blinked.
"What?"
"It's getting late. Everyone's hungry. What's the rush?" "Not everyone's here yet."
"Who's missing?" someone asked.
"Yeah, who?" "Rafael's not here," someone said.
"And Anna?"
"Anna hasn't shown up either." "Anna's coming?" "It's Jaime's birthday, no way she'd miss it." But Jaime cut them off abruptly. "I didn't invite her." His voice was sharp. "Even if she shows up, she's not getting in." "Don't get angry." Laura soothed him sweetly, tugging his sleeve. "Don't let someone irrelevant ruin your night, okay?" "You're right," Jaime muttered. He looked at the girl beside him. Laura was gorgeous. Anna was pretty too, but not in the same dazzling, camera-ready way. It had been Laura who first caught his eye. But over time, he found she wasn't as exciting as he'd imagined. And lately, Anna had changed. She didn't wait outside the dorm anymore. Didn't follow him to class or tag along to meals. It was like she'd vanished. Even when they crossed paths, she avoided eye contact. Jaime had to admit it felt strange. He blamed it on habit. He wasn't used to being ignored. Not by someone who used to orbit around him like a satellite. It wasn't that he liked Anna. Of course not. And no way he'd go against his parents over that imposter. Still, they'd known each other for years. He figured if Anna broke down and came crawling back tonight, she wouldn't even need to beg. Just a few tears, a pitiful look, and he'd give her a place by his side again. Suddenly, the door creaked open. A guy walked in with a curious smirk. Guess who I just saw?
Who?
Come on, stop teasing, tell us. It's Anna, he said finally. Told you, someone laughed. She can't live without Jaime.
See?
Couldn't stay away on his birthday. Jaime didn't say anything, but his expression relaxed. Laura's, however, darkened. She tugged on his sleeve again, whining gently. Jaime, can you ask Anna to leave? After how long she's chased you, I feel really uncomfortable. Jaime looked at Laura. Right then, she looked more beautiful than ever. His mood lifted. But Anna had been making him angry lately. If she wanted to come back, he'd make her work for it.
Sure.
I'll kick her out if you want. He pinched Laura's cheek, grinning. Kick who out? A calm, clear voice cut through the noise. The half-open door swung wide, and Rafael stepped inside, posture straight, voice firm and sharp. The whole room fell into a stunned silence. All eyes turned toward him, because right behind Rafael was Anna. Jaime didn't move, but the glass in his hand shattered, shards digging into his palm. Blood trickled down his fingers. Jaime, you're bleeding. Laura gasped. Get out, he muttered.
What?
I said get out. Don't you understand? He stood suddenly and threw the broken glass to the floor, shattering it further. Laura flinched, stunned into silence, and then burst into tears before fleeing the room. The rest of the guests, sensing the tension, hurried out one by one, leaving only the three of them behind: Jaime, Rafael, and Anna, staring across a war zone made of silence, blood, and things left unsaid. Jaime's hand hung limp at his side, blood dripping steadily to the floor, but he didn't seem to feel it. His eyes were locked on Rafael, his face cold with fury. After a long silence, he finally raised that bloodied hand and pointed at Anna. Rafael, don't you have something to explain? Under his sleeve, Rafael's fingers curled into fists, strong and calm, like steel under tension. Explain what? He said evenly. Why Anna's here with you, Jaime barked. You were the one who asked me to bring my girlfriend to your birthday party. Or did you forget? Rafael tightened his grip on Anna's hand, pulled her close, and wrapped his arm around her shoulders. In an instant, Jaime exploded. He grabbed another glass with his injured hand and hurled it at the floor, shattering it with a crash. She's mine, Rafael. Damn it, don't you get it? Anna is mine. Yours. Rafael didn't flinch. Your girlfriend? Your fiancée? Or are you saying that just because you like a girl, she automatically becomes your property? Jaime's eyes burned red, wild with rage. You knew she liked me, and you still went after her. That's betrayal. Anna stepped forward, her voice steady. Jaime, he didn't betray you. I was the one who made the first move. She looked at him calmly, without flinching. And for the record, I don't like you. I haven't for a long time. In that moment, she realized it was true. She was over him. No self-respecting woman would keep chasing someone who treated her like she was disposable, someone cold, dismissive, always keeping her at arm's length. Maybe there had been feelings once, some childhood attachment, but after the truth about her identity came out and his attitude changed, those feelings had died. Anna, what are you saying? Jaime looked at her like she'd just uttered something absurd. You were the one who almost jumped into the river for me, and now you're saying you never liked me? I never went to the river for you, she said coolly. That night, I went there to create an excuse for Rafael to come find me. Jaime froze. His expression twisted into something dark and monstrous. After a long pause, he growled through clenched teeth. So the person in Rafael's bed that night, that was you?
Yes.
It was me, Anna said without blinking. And Jaime, stay out of my life. I told you before I won't bother you again. And I meant it. She turned away, taking Rafael's hand.
Come on.
I want to go home. I want to see our new place. But Rafael didn't move. He stared at Jaime, his gaze razor-sharp. From now on, I don't want to hear anyone say anything about my girlfriend. Anyone. Jaime lost it. Rafael, who the hell do you think you are? Rafael smirked coldly. If you don't know who I am, why don't you ask your father when you get home? Jaime's mouth shut instantly. His eyes shifted from Rafael to Anna. His once handsome face now twisted with bitterness. Anna, he sneered. Rafael doesn't know you're not the real daughter of the Jiang family, does he? You've been hiding something big from him. That's not very honest, is it? Anna had prepared herself for the day her identity would be exposed. But having it thrown in her face like this, so suddenly, still left her frozen and ashamed. Rafael's hand in hers stiffened. Cold sweat gathered on her palm. Jaime smirked. So, you were hiding it from him. I knew it. If Rafael found out where you really came from, he'd run. A girl like you? He wouldn't even touch you with a stick. Jaime. Rafael's voice dropped to a low, dangerous tone. He let go of Anna's hand, calmly rolled up his sleeves, then removed his watch and handed it to her. I used to think you were just a flirt. A jerk. But not the worst kind of man. He took a step forward, grabbed Jaime by the collar, and slammed him into the wall. But now I know. You're trash. Jaime roared and tried to fight back, but Rafael punched him square in the jaw. You're a coward. And a failure. Rafael's voice trembled with fury. Unlike you, I'm not in love with someone because of her family. I love Anna. Just Anna. Whoever she is, whatever her name, I love her. But Anna's already. Jaime couldn't finish. Rafael punched him again.
Hard.
Jaime collapsed, clutching his bleeding nose and mouth, whimpering like a child. Anna rushed forward, grabbing Rafael's arm. Stop. You'll go too far. Rafael's expression stayed cold, but he didn't move again. He pulled out his phone, calmly called someone to deal with Jaime, then wrapped Anna in his arms. Let's go home. In the car, Anna sat quietly beside him, then softly said, Rafael, do you believe me? Believe what? He asked. She turned to look at him. He wore a dark gray shirt, sharp and clean, and so heartbreakingly handsome. A long time ago, if she'd seen him angry throwing punches, she would have been terrified. But now, she felt nothing but warmth. All these years, she had been desperately clinging to fake lifelines. But they always betrayed her. The elders who once praised her no longer treated her as precious. There were no slaps, no screams, just cold arrogance and emotional abandonment that nearly broke her. Her childhood friend discarded her like trash. Her birth parents were monsters obsessed with money. She had lived in fear, afraid that one day she'd be thrown back into the abyss. And all this time, she never knew someone had loved her in silence. Now, thanks to those dreams, she had changed her fate. She didn't end up using her body to beg Jaime for crumbs of love. She didn't end up drowning. Jaime, and nothing ever happened. Anna, Rafael said, pulling her face toward him, kissing her deeply. Her hands clutched his sleeve, gripping and loosening, gripping again. Rafael, his kiss deepened, stealing her breath, and her legs weakened. She had to cling to his waist for support. His lips moved to her neck, warm and possessive. Anna, he whispered, I don't care about any of it. Even if I already knew, Anna whispered, curling closer into Rafael's coat. Hearing you say out loud still makes me happy. Rafael smiled faintly. Men are selfish when it comes to things like this. I know, she said, resting her cheek against his chest. I told you, because I don't want him dragging your name through the mud. I said it for you, but also for me. He took her hand, gripping it firmly so tightly that it felt like a promise he would never let go. That grip, Anna knew, would last a lifetime. Before their relationship became completely public, Anna made one last visit to the Jiang family. She spent the entire afternoon speaking to the elders. In the end, with the help of Valentina, the true daughter of the Jiang family, Anna regained her legal independence. From that moment on, all ties with the Jiang family were officially severed. She had timed it carefully. Anna knew the Jiang family too well. If they learned she was dating Rafael, they'd cling to the influential Wang family like leeches. She wanted to shield Rafael from that chaos. When she left the Jiang residence, Madame Jiang was clearly displeased. Anna, our family raised you for years. We spent millions on you. And now, we get nothing in return. But Anna's heart had long changed. The Jiang family had once treated her like a jewel for 16 years. Then the real daughter returned, and the illusion shattered. The years that followed had been painful, but she never starved, never truly suffered. And Valentina, who had once shown so much hostility toward her, had changed. Strangely enough, it was Valentina who stood up for Anna now, who helped her sever ties cleanly, and even convinced Madame Jiang not to publicize Anna's humiliating past. Anna was finally free. The wind no longer felt cold against her skin. Nothing and no one could bind her anymore. She bowed respectfully. "Madam, I will never forget your kindness in raising me." "How sweet," Madame Jiang sneered, cold eyes piercing. "You couldn't even win over Jaime, someone who's known you since childhood. What future do you possibly think you have? Just go. I can't even stand to look at you." Anna didn't reply. She simply looked toward Valentina. "Mom, I'll walk Anna out," Valentina offered. Madame Jiang softened. "Come back quickly. Dinner will be ready." "I know," Valentina said with a smile, leading Anna outside. They stopped in the garden, both turning to face each other at the same time. Then they laughed. Soft, quiet, and real. "Sister," Anna said, wrapping her arms around her gently. "Thank you." At the same time, Valentina whispered, "Anna, I'm sorry." They didn't say more. They didn't have to. The apology, Anna knew, was not just for her but for the Anna in her dreams. Her eyes welled up. So did Valentina's. They held hands tightly. "Anna, this time you have to be happy." "I will. And you too, sister." In this life, Anna would return the Jiang family's kindness through Valentina. While Valentina had endured 16 years of hardship, Anna had lived those same years in privilege. In the dream, she had hated Valentina. But now, all of that was forgiven. Forgotten. When Rafael brought her to meet his parents, Anna was nervous. Truly nervous. Madame Wang had become deeply spiritual in recent years, devoted to Buddhism, making yearly pilgrimages to Puji Temple. "Don't worry," Rafael assured her, sensing her anxiety. "She's very gentle now. And my dad does whatever she says." Still, the closer they got, the more Anna's nerves grew. She tugged on his sleeve. "Rafael, can we do this another day? I'm scared." He laughed softly. "Anna, it's too late. My mom's already coming to greet us." Sure enough, Madame Wang was walking down the steps toward their car. Anna had no choice but to gather her courage. "Mom, this is Anna," Rafael said. "Hello, Madame Wang." Anna greeted politely, handing her the carefully chosen gift. Madame Wang smiled, accepted it, but didn't take her eyes off Anna. Even after they entered the house, she kept looking at her. Moments later, she took Anna's hand gently. "Don't be afraid, Anna. Let's have a little talk upstairs." Rafael looked concerned, but Madame Wang chuckled. "Don't worry, I'm not going to eat your girlfriend." Anna's face flushed. Madame Wang, but she didn't let go of Anna's hand, instead beaming with genuine warmth. "Look, old Wang. Isn't she just like I said? Beautiful. Sweet." Mr. Wang, elegant and calm, nodded. "She's lovely. You can tell she's a good girl." Anna didn't know what to say. She was stunned. Then Madame Wang's grip tightened just slightly. Her voice wavered. "Anna, please don't take this the wrong way. It might sound silly, but for years I've had the same dream over and over." Her voice grew quieter. In the dream, Rafael never marries, never builds a family. Because of a girl. He dies alone in his 40s. Anna's breath caught. At first his father and I thought it was nonsense. Just a bad dream. But then everything in those dreams started coming true. One thing after another. Tears began to stream down her face. So I started praying. I've eaten vegetarian for years, gone to temples, begged the heavens to protect him. I was so afraid that the last part of the dream would happen too. She looked at Anna with trembling eyes. "But when I saw you, I knew. I knew you were the one. The girl I've been praying for all these years. I don't think those dreams were warnings, they were paths. And now that you're here, I finally believe my prayers weren't in vain. Anna, please, you and Rafael must take care of each other." At some point, Anna had started crying too. The woman in front of her, this gentle, loving mother, was everything her birth parents were not. She had been so lost, so wounded. But somehow, through all the pain, she'd found Rafael. And this family. What had she done to deserve such grace? In that moment, all the regrets from her dreams dissolved. They were no longer predictions. They were warnings, ones she had escaped by choosing differently this time. After Rafael and Anna graduated from university, the first thing they did was register their marriage. The wedding was still in the planning phase. Anna wanted something small and quiet, but neither Rafael nor the elders of the Wang family would hear of it. As soon as the papers were signed, she moved into his home. That evening, while Rafael was in the shower, Anna found the single pearl earring she had once lost, still tucked beneath his pillow. But this time, she didn't return it. She put it on. And that was the only thing she wore. She lay on his bed, wrapped under his blanket, pretending to sleep. Anna, his warm, damp kiss brushed the side of her cheek. It tickled slightly, making her lashes flutter, but she kept her eyes shut. He chuckled softly, kissed her again, and lifted the blanket to slip in beside her. But the moment the sheet rose, his entire body froze. Anna, the golden light from the bedside lamp pooled across the room, tracing the curves of her body. The pearls shimmered faintly beneath her dark hair. Her pale skin glowed beneath the soft light, and shadows danced gently over her frame like white jade garnished with ripe cherries, tempting and irresistible. At first, she'd been so nervous her hands and feet had gone numb. But when she saw the look on Rafael's face, all the anxiety melted away. She sat up and threw herself into his arms, looping her arms around his neck. Just like that night in his dorm, she leaned close to his ear. "Rafael, do you like what you see?" "You can't stop staring." She felt his entire body tighten. His temperature rose, skin burning like a man possessed. His Adam's apple bobbed wildly, veins in his neck rising visibly beneath the tension. She pressed her lips to one of those veins, kissed it, then bit gently on the base of his throat. It was like opening a floodgate, or waking a volcano that had slept for 1,000 years. In one swift movement, Rafael flipped her beneath him and claimed her mouth in a deep, searing kiss. His lips were fierce, his touch demanding. She could hardly keep up. Her breath caught again and again as he pressed closer, held tighter. "Anna," he whispered her name over and over, like a mantra, never tiring. But near the end, he kissed her gently and murmured, "If it hurts, bite me." She nodded, eyes fluttering shut, voice small. Her nails dug into his back, leaving sharp, crimson crescents across his shoulders. The pain still came, and she couldn't help but cry. "Rafael." She looked up at him, tears in her eyes. She felt vulnerable, unsure, a little overwhelmed. He looked terrifying in that moment, wild with tension. For a second, she thought he wouldn't be able to stop. But he did.
He stopped.
He held her tightly instead, wrapped in his arms, and for a moment the world stood still. Her arms encircled his waist. "Rafael," she murmured, "didn't you say that crying wouldn't work? That even if I begged, you wouldn't stop?" His face was still dark with desire, lips tight from restraint, his chest rising with effort. "I can't hurt you," he said at last, voice rough. "Rafael." "Yeah? When did you start liking me?" He didn't answer, just held her tighter. "If you don't say it," she teased, peering up at him, "then I won't say I like you either." He looked down, his eyes full of fire and something deeper, tenderness, longing, vulnerability. After a long pause, he finally spoke. "Since the first time I saw you," he said softly. "Anna, I thought I'd never get the chance to tell you." The word struck her chest like lightning. "It doesn't matter," she whispered. "Now we have forever." "Yeah," he said. "Now we have a whole life together." Their fingers intertwined naturally, tightly, like they'd been waiting their whole lives for this. She leaned in to kiss him, and he kissed her back with a depth that made time disappear. "Rafael, I think it doesn't hurt anymore." Then he asked gently, "Should we keep going?" The room soon filled with soft, breathless sounds that made her cheeks burn red. The night stretched long, and the life waiting ahead of them longer still. In the wild spring tide of that night, their devotion was spoken not in words, but in every touch, whispered softly. forever.